It's a cool 51-degree night under the lights here at the UNG soccer field in Dahlonega, Georgia, setting the stage for our Peach Belt Conference Men's Soccer Showdown on the Nighthawk Sports Network. It's the home team, the red-hot North Georgia Nighthawks, looking for their 7th win of the season, and the USC Aiken Pacers looking to get back on track and break a 3-game losing skid and pick up their first October win of the season. Glad to have you all with us tonight alongside my partner Ryan Hutchison and the rest of the NSN crew. Robert DiClemente on hand for you tonight. The last month of soccer has been some of the best of the season for North Georgia. 5-1 in their last 6 games. They're tied for first in the PBC standings. And Ryan, after a couple of sort of find your footing games at the beginning of the year, the Nighthawks have been on a roll, and this is arguably the best that they've looked under Coach Lilich the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, like you said, they're playing their best soccer as of late. This is a big test for North Georgia tonight, though. Like you said, they sit at 6-4-1, but 6 wins. That's where the team is capped off in recent years. Last season, however, they did get 9. Tonight, they are looking for their 3rd 3-game winning streak of the season against USC Aiken.
Yeah, those Pacers, after a couple of down seasons, they've really been trending in the right direction. 3-4-2 this year, their most wins since 2019. They faced a bit of a skid as of recently, but they're going to be looking for a rebound win tonight, trying to take down North Georgia for the first time in 3 years. So it's going to be an action-packed midweek matchup here in the Gold City. Again, glad to have you all with us tonight. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. First for USC Aiken, a lot of veteran talent in the starting lineup for the Pacers. Jose Rabadon, the player to watch out for the Pacers, leading USC Aiken in goals this year, just like he did last year. A veteran on this squad is definitely going to be the player to look out for. Felipe Matos, the only freshman starting tonight for the Pacers. And for North Georgia, a lot of familiar faces in the starting lineup, almost exactly the same as what we saw in North Georgia's last game. We have the 2 players responsible for the goals in Alejandro De Viena and Max Mitchell getting the start tonight, so a mix of new faces and some old in the starting lineup for North Georgia. As we are underway here in Dahlonega, time is 7:05, and like we mentioned in that opener, it is a chilly Wednesday evening, dropping down to about 51 degrees tonight. Definitely that cold weather kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did. And I woke up this morning to go to class, and I was thoroughly shocked when I walked out of my building because it was really cold here in Dahlonega. So that's something these players are going to have to adjust to, of course. They've been used to playing in warmer weather, so it'll be interesting to see how they challenge that task. I know I see a lot of sleeves out there that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out. Definitely they are equipped for the weather tonight with all the long sleeves out there. Some of the players on the bench also wrapped up in the hoodies and the sweats tonight. Here is North Georgia trying to make something happen early with Aram Lara. Push back to DJ Shin. Now to Lukovic. Lara now at midfield. Lara got his first helper of the season in North Georgia's last contest. And he's a player that's definitely struggled a bit this season after coming off of the PBC Freshman of the Year award last year. Has been trying to find his footing, so it's definitely a great sight to see that he is really kind of found his way again this season.
Yeah, it's good to see him back to his form. We know he can play at a high level, and he's been doing just that recently. Gets it back into the middle third here. UNG going to try to attack here early on USC Aiken. USC Aiken's had a bit of a hard time on these Wednesday matchups as of late. Their record on a Wednesday is not something they are happy with, and they're looking to fix tonight. That record's 44, 120, and 22. So they are going to try to make that much better here.
Yeah, it was interesting to see on USC Aiken's page with the notes for the matchup coming into this game. They provide very in-depth notes, and like you mentioned, one of them is their record on Wednesdays, and specifically records on this specific day. They've struggled a bit as well, and so this is a big game for them. They are, like we said, still looking for their first PBC win of the season, trying to right their wrongs from historically speaking, how they perform in these midweek matchups or on this specific day. So this is a big test for them.
Yeah, it is, and it's going to be pretty hard for them because as bad as they fared on Wednesdays, they really haven't fared well against the University of North Georgia Nighthawks, including earlier this season. Obviously, North Georgia got the win 4-1, had their best offensive performance of the season in that game. So USC Aiken going to try to fix that, and here's an early opportunity.
Yeah, they get the early opportunity here as this is batted away. Ball still bounces around in the box. USC Aiken with a good opportunity there on the free kick early, and a great pass into Jorge Sandoval, who has some room to work. Defense gets back into position. He's just testing the goalkeeper there to make sure he's on alert.
Yeah, why not early on? Get after it. Why don't we? Thought we had a breakaway opportunity for just a second right there. Fizzled away, and Sandoval obviously got it away to the goalie. But some good signs so far early for North Georgia.
Yeah, nice job by USC Aiken to get back into that play. As this ball takes a few bounces, eventually rolls out of play, and this is going to be a goal kick for North Georgia. But the one place where USC Aiken, where they've really shined this season, has been their defense. Back-to-back games where they've only allowed just one goal. This defense has really been one of the strongest aspects of USC Aiken so far in 2024.
Yeah, that has been their strongest aspect. Not a lot of high-scoring games on their schedule. They've kept the scores low. Problem is they're not getting the production on the other end of the field. And that's going to be tough to do against this Nighthawk team. They've obviously been pretty good defensively as well. So we have a good matchup between two really good teams right here. UNG on the near side of the field, kicking the ball around, just getting a feel for it early.
Yeah, they're testing out these midfielders here for USC Aiken. Yeah, back-to-back games for the Pacers that have ended in 0-1 losses for them. So the defense is holding their own, but like you said, it's just the offense and their attacking game just hasn't been able to hold up their end of the bargain as of recently.
Yeah, they had a really bad stroke of luck in the 85th minute against Flagler in their last game. Had 2 shots on goal, one of those by Jose Rabadon, who we've touched on already. Fantastic striker for him. Neither one of those found the back of the net, and it resulted in a 1-0 loss to Flagler. So they just got to get the pieces going like they have been, and hopefully they find the back of the net. Of course, we want North Georgia to do that a couple more times than USC Aiken tonight.
Yeah, and that was an impressive outing for USC Aiken against Flagler, one of the top teams in the PBC, to come away with that 0-1 loss. Still, they kept that one very close for the full 90 minutes. As North Georgia is pressured back to midfield. Here is Owen Wallace with the fresh cut. His curls no more. He gets it back, and Wallace is a player that Coach Lilich has put a lot of trust in this season. He's played the most minutes out of any player on this North Georgia roster as just a freshman, and he's been up to the task. He makes a lot of plays out there that you'd see out of a third or fourth year player.
Yeah, doing that as a freshman is really impressive in its own right. Obviously, the talent levels have a bit of disparity because you have some guys out here who have been playing for a long time and are seniors, but also you have to gain that locker room trust. And for Wallace to be able to do that in such a short amount of time, and the trust of head coach Lilich, that's just a big deal for Owen Wallace.
Yeah, Wallace, one of 28 new faces on this North Georgia squad that has been contributing to the success that Coach Lilich and the Nighthawks have seen this year, off the cusp of one of their most successful seasons in program history. Finished with 9 wins, made a run in the Peach Belt Conference Tournament, their most wins since 2017. So they're looking to kind of recapture some of that magic from last year, and so far they absolutely have. Looking for their 7th win tonight. Had 9 wins last season. Like we mentioned, that was a very, very successful season for them. And so, if they can keep the ball rolling here, it's going to spell danger for the rest of the Peach Belt Conference.
Yeah, why not UNG, right? Obviously 4-2 record in the Peach Belt, so they've been taking care of business in the conference. This home field has been where they've struggled, actually. 1-3-1 record here, so they're looking to get a bit of that home field advantage back. I know it's Spirit Night here in North Georgia, so hopefully the team can feed off that and get their second home win of the year.
Yeah, that was a nice touch there from Jorge Sandoval, who just got the crowd fired up on that one. Like you mentioned, a fantastic crowd here on Spirit Night, always bringing out some of the best crowds of the 2024 season, really any season that we have Spirit Night here in Dahlonega. Also, when you play a game under the lights here at the UNG soccer field, tends to bring a lot of people out into the crowd as well.
Our only complaint now is that it's 50 degrees outside.
Yeah. Definitely got to bundle up here if you are deciding to come out and watch this game live. Here is Pais, who is wrapped up by a defender in a battle on the sideline. Ball rolls out of play. It's going to be North Georgia's ball. They throw in quickly to Lara.
You can almost sense that UNG has the advantage right now, and they feel that they do. They're kicking balls backwards over there. They're clearing balls into the middle of the field. They're playing with a confidence right now as they try to slow things down and get the ball back and set something up here moving forward.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that they've been the aggressors early on here through these first 8 minutes. Here is Jorge Sandoval with the speed. That ball deflects out of play, but it is going to be the first corner opportunity of the game for North Georgia. And Sandoval, if you give him that room to work, he is going to make you pay. A great result here as North Georgia is awarded the corner. They keep it on the ground as they send this one in quickly. The header is off the mark, stays in the air. Ball eventually gets back to the ground, and USC Aiken's back line takes care of that. Here is the Pacers trying to respond, and at midfield, Lara takes it away. Lara gets it into an open Max Mitchell, the superstar freshman for North Georgia, trying to work into the box. He's got a defender on him. Now Lara crosses it in. This is headed out of there by USC Aiken as this ball eventually rolls out of play, and a quick second corner opportunity for North Georgia.
Yeah, and like I just touched on, they're being really aggressive. We've seen some games this year where the men's team's kind of just stuck around and passed the ball a few too many times, and it's been problematic. But right here, they're trying to push towards the goal. They are trying to make something happen early against the Pacers of USC Aiken. They are trying to get Felipe Matos into the game extremely quickly here.
So the second corner stays on the ground. Here is Sandoval who sends it in, again headed out of there by USC Aiken as they try to respond. Yeah, this first half is going to be incredibly important for North Georgia as Max Mitchell now has some space. He tries to work around the defender. He is double teamed. He has that one taken away from him. But yeah, this first half is going to be so important for North Georgia. In games where the Nighthawks have tied or they're trailing going into halftime this season, just 2-4. But in games the Nighthawks go into the locker room with the lead, they're undefeated, 4-0-1 this year in games where they are leading at the half. So it's going to be really important for North Georgia to find some life offensively here through the first 45 minutes. And, so far, they've definitely been the aggressors.
They have, and it's so important to jump out to that lead. I mean, you want to be in control of this game, especially on a cold night like this. People are going to be a little lethargic, you'd think. A few mistakes can be made. So if you can get on top of that early, score a goal or two, and then really put USC Aiken on the defensive, that's where you're going to see the story of this matchup unfold.
And the previous matchup between the Nighthawks and the Pacers earlier in the year ended in a dominant 4-1 win for North Georgia on the road in Aiken, South Carolina. Those 4 goals, the most that the Nighthawks have scored in a game this season. But like you mentioned, Ryan, North Georgia, they've struggled at home this year. Just 1 win in front of the Nighthawk faithful here in the regular season. They're trying to right their wrongs here as Kano has this taken away, trying to get a through ball into him. Sneaky Lara tries to take that one away.
Max Mitchell's just out there having fun right now, isn't
yeah. He has had a handful of opportunities in this first half, just in these first 10 to 12 minutes alone, to try to make a play. North Georgia's definitely looking to get him involved early. One of the leading goal scorers on this team, combined with Pais and Shango, each with 4 apiece.
So going back to that game against USC Aiken, that was the season high in points, goals, assists, shots, and shots on goal for UNG. So they offensively, they know they can get it done against USC Aiken, and that's probably playing into the aggression that you're seeing right now. Yeah,
definitely seeing a bit of a similar result here from North Georgia. Here's Davey Yena, tries to cross it into the box. Davey Yena, like we mentioned during the starting lineups, responsible for one of the goals North Georgia scored in their last game on the road against Georgia Southwestern. This ball eventually hits the turf and gets back to North Georgia's goalkeeper in Alexa Lukic, starting in his 10th match of the season. He's become their go-to guy in goal this year for Coach Lilich. Both of these goalkeepers starting their 10th match of the season. Matos over there on the left, a freshman starting in his 10th match this year, as he may be tested here on this rainbow that North Georgia tried to get in to Pais. And a nice job by DJ Shin to just send this one out of play, stop that momentum from USC Aiken, and it'll be a throw-in for the Pacers.
Yeah, and going back to Alexa Lukic getting his 10th start of the season, that's got to be such a good feeling for Nell Lilich to know that he has someone he can put in the net that he trusts. And same way on the other side for USC Aiken with their goalkeeper Felipe Matos. Having that guy in the net that you just know is going to be a safety valve no matter what happens is such a good feeling for these head coaches.
Yeah, Lukic has already made a handful of really great plays for North Georgia in goal this year. Leads the PBC in saves per game, almost 5 per contest as a Nighthawk does hit the turf. Clock will continue to roll. And it looks like that was Miguel Romero right in front of USC Aiken's bench. Just hit the turf, but he's back up to his feet. Great to see that he's all right. North Georgia's going to resume play quickly here on the free kick. As I keep this one on the ground, as they try to send this one in. This goes right into the midst, but saved by Matos. And, Ryan, you just touched on how both of these teams really have some solid pieces in goal. Matos, a Peach Belt Conference Goalkeeper of the Week this season, earned that after week 1 of the regular season. And just as a freshman, he's going to continue to get better and better with every contest.
And that's what we were talking about earlier with how good this defense has been for USC Aiken. That's due in large part to Matos in that goal. He's been fantastic. And like I mentioned, even if the defense breaks down in a way, you know that you have a guy back there who's going to do everything he possibly can to make sure a point doesn't go up on the board.
Yeah, only has allowed 1 goal in back-to-back games. He's really been solid for them all season long. And Lukic over there on the left, like we just mentioned, leads the PBC in saves per game, almost 5 per contest. Leads the PBC in saves this year, too, with 38. So he's definitely been tested a bit this season. If North Georgia's back line collapses, leaving up to Lukic to make a play, most of the time he's up there to make a stop.
Yeah, he hasn't been used a ton in this one so far with UNG attacking so often, but back on the defending third for the Nighthawks right now on the far side. Ball getting kicked around back there. Going to try to get another attack going here.
Yeah, North Georgia only getting 1 shot off in this game so far officially in the stat sheet. USC Aiken still looking for their first of the contest with 29:45 to go here in this first period. Ball eventually gets to midfield. Romero has it taken away. Nighthawks trying to apply pressure as now the Pacers are forced back to regroup with Matos. Ball will eventually bounce out of play, and so it will be North Georgia's throw-in near the coaching staff for USC Aiken. This Pacers coaching staff has gone through some adjustments this year after longtime head coach Ike Afoji retired last November, was with the program for 28 years with USC Aiken. Was a part of some really successful Pacers programs and was there since 1996. Was the first coach of the women's team, coached the men's and the women's program for quite some time until he just solely focused on the men's program. But Pacers turn the page this offseason, and that new page now on the sideline, Nick Sukowicz. He is the new head coach for the Pacers. Came over from St. Leo, where he was an assistant coach. Spent some time at the Division I level with Villanova and at Elon University. But in his first season as a head coach, he's already started to make some improvements to this USC Aiken squad.
Yeah, his rap sheet is mighty impressive. Also spent some time as a scout for the Chicago Fire in the MLS. So they know they have a good head coach in Nick Sukowicz, and he has done a good job with this USC Aiken team so far. Just a really impressive turnaround for what they've had in the past. And that was part of what he said when he got there was they were going to change the culture for USC Aiken, and you'd like to think he's done just that so far, not only on the field but in the classroom as well for these students.
Yeah, and you always like to see a coach, right from the get-go. There isn't really any sort of adjustment period. As soon as he stepped foot on campus in Aiken, South Carolina, he has already started to make an impact. Here is North Georgia now on the attacking end. They leave it for Dave Vienna. Dave Vienna trying to find Sandoval. That is cut off, though, by the Pacers. Ball eventually hits the ground. That's mooned into the air, and it'll be a throw-in for Miguel Romero. Again, ball stays on the ground. A battle for it just outside the corner of the box. North Georgia ends up with it. The ball does roll out of play, but the Nighthawks are really putting the pressure on this Pacers back line early. This now their third corner opportunity of the game coming up.
Yeah, third corner of the game, and I believe both times they've done a corner, it's stayed on the ground. They've yet to go right for the set piece there at the net, so it'll be interesting to see what they do here. There's a man over there in the corner, so it looks like they might do the same thing they've been doing.
Yeah, they may keep it on the ground here. It'll be Sandoval to take it. As Sandoval sends this one in, trying to find a player on the header as Pais tried to rebound there. Trying to find Owen Wallace on the play. And Wallace is going to be one of the go-tos for North Georgia in those types of plays. Has some of the most height out there on the field for North Georgia. So if you see a cross or any sort of corner kick go in, expect Wallace to be one of the main targets. As this ball rolls out of play, but it is off of a Nighthawk, so it will be a goal kick for Matos. And historically, this matchup has favored North Georgia. This is the program that they've seen the most success against, USC Aiken. North Georgia 29-1 all-time against the Pacers. Georgia Southwestern, the team that they just beat, is the only program that North Georgia has beat more. 21 wins for North Georgia against the Hurricanes compared to just 20 against USC Aiken.
Yeah, UNG's been able to get 14 of the last 15 matchups against this USC Aiken team. So somewhere within these two universities, UNG has figured out the USC Aiken team, and they're looking to do that same exact thing here tonight.
Yeah, a lot of the opening matchups between these two programs almost 20 years ago, a lot of those went in the favor of USC Aiken, but as of recent, it's been all North Georgia, like you mentioned. These last about 10 years or so, it's been dominant for the Nighthawks against the Pacers. Pacers have not beaten North Georgia in 3 years. 2021 was the last time we saw USC Aiken take down North Georgia. Here are the Nighthawks trying to get a through ball into Pais. You can tell that they're a bit frustrated with themselves on that play. You saw Kano with his hands on his head. That could have easily been a really good opportunity there for North Georgia to take the first lead of the game.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing USC Aiken cannot have happen. They've done a good job so far, even with UNG being so aggressive of keeping the ball out of the net. They haven't let them get a lot of really good looks on the goal so far, so they want to keep doing that. Here's a quick transition for them. They've gotten down in their own attacking third here.
Yeah, USC Aiken now trying to put the pressure on. Haven't really seen a ton of action over here on the right side of the field. It's been mostly North Georgia dominating on the left. Pacers are looking for their first goal in the last few games, been held scoreless their last few contests. But North Georgia's back line makes the play as now the Nighthawks are in transition. They have Mitchell closest to your screen streaking towards the goal as the Nighthawks do work their way in goal, keep it in play, and it was the right idea from Sandoval to just keep this one from going out of bounds, but went right to the feet of a Pacer.
Another one of those situations where UNG gets oh so close, but just can't get the look on goal they want to try to put it in the back of the net. USC Aiken done a good job so far, and now they're on an attack.
DJ Shin putting the pressure on Kuakino. And it'll now be Lukic as this Nighthawks back line tries to make something happen. Like we mentioned, a fantastic crowd on hand tonight as Nighthawks Entertainment is starting to get the crowd involved here.
They're throwing something down there.
And a bunch of goodies before the game, free T-shirts, free food, a whole bunch of good stuff.
Our window is open up here if they feel so inclined.
We can make it.
There's something up here.
Yeah, I should have had my baseball glove. Should have brought that to the game.
Actually, tryouts for the baseball team if you can get it through this window up here from down there on the walkway.
The sun has officially set here in Dahlonega too. Something about, having the moon out here, the lights out, definitely gets this crowd more fired up. As Matos and his strong foot boots this one well past midfield, past North Georgia's bench, in fact. So we approach 22-10 remaining in this first half, still scoreless. And this is kind of similar to what we saw in the first time that North Georgia and USC Aiken faced off this year. It was 1-0 going into halftime. North Georgia had the lead, and it wasn't until the second half where North Georgia exploded on the attacking end for 3 goals to really just put that game to rest.
Yeah, like I said, in that game, 24 shots, 13 of which were on goal, so they were all over the net, a lot like they were tonight, or are tonight. But the difference we've seen tonight and from that game, all those shots on goal, they're just not getting those great looks that I think that they're wanting right now.
Yeah, North Georgia, they are limited on the amount of opportunities that they get in a typical game as far as getting shots off. But when they do, most of the time they are testing these opposing goalkeepers. They are one of the most accurate teams in the Peach Ball Conference when it comes to getting shots on goal. Nighthawks trying to find Lara, and that play cut off nicely by the USC Aiken defender. A battle on the sideline is going to end in USC Aiken's ball. So the Pacers will throw in right underneath the light post. As they try to find Rabadon. Neither team has made a substitution as of yet.
You mentioned they got the ball to Rabadon. That was the lone scorer against UNG last time. He leads the team in goals with 3, so he's their playmaker on this USC Aiken offense. So if they're going to try to get something going against UNG and Alexa Lukic, I think they're going to have to go through Rabadon in this one.
No doubt about it. The veteran from Madrid, Rabadon, he's, again, like you mentioned, been on a tear this season. Again, leads the team in goals. Had 5 last year to lead the Pacers. And he's really established himself as a force to be reckoned with. Had a breakout year last season. Was an all-tournament member in the PBC. Second-team all-conference member. So he has pretty much established himself as one of, if not the best player on this USC Aiken team.
And we talked about their goalie being, or Matos being a safety net. That's the same way they feel with Rabadon on the offensive side of things. If you can just get the ball at his feet, good things are going to happen. The team goes as he goes, to say. So that's something the Pacers are going to try to establish. But every time they get across midfield, the ball just seems to find its way right back to the foot of a Nighthawk.
Yeah, the back line for North Georgia, which, has kind of been their downfall in a couple of games, not necessarily this season, but maybe in years past, where we've seen a couple of times where opposing attackers have been able to leak through this back line for North Georgia, but they've really kind of turned the page this year. A couple new faces on the back line for them in DJ Shin and Lukovic. Wallace, one of those as well. They've really stepped up their game this year, and it's been pretty difficult to come by when it comes to scoring goals against North Georgia's back line.
Yeah, and there's some veteran presence on that line, like you mentioned, Lukovic, a junior, DJ Shin Jr. as well. So there's some experience back there for North Georgia. They're going to be tested right here. Here comes USC Aiken on attack.
Yeah, Cucawino tries to work his way into the box. This cross is off the mark. Nobody home for USC Aiken. This ball will gingerly take a couple bounces out of play. It'll be a goal kick here for Lukic. Still just one shot fired off in this game between the two teams. Sandoval responsible for the lone shot. North Georgia may get an opportunity here on the left side with Pais. And again, that's just a great hustle play made by USC Aiken's back line. But it'll result in the throw-in for Pais, a former Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week. Again, another new face on this North Georgia team who has stepped up big this year.
Looks like they're trying to set something up right here.
Yeah, Pais has got Lara behind him. Now Lara takes the shot, but doesn't look like he had quite enough underneath that one. May have took an awkward bounce off of his foot.
Yeah, rare misfire right there from Snyder. That was not something we're accustomed to seeing here.
Yeah, Spider, one of those players that once he starts to get going, he is quite the difficult player to stop. Had a pair of goals and 9 assists last year that led the Peach Bell Conference. Ball takes a couple of bounces at midfield. Now USC Aiken on the attack. They've got some room to work with Kakawino. They now leave it for Makagoe. Ball stays alive for the Pacers for the time being. North Georgia's backline trying to make a play. Ball gets pushed back a tad, and this first shot is right into the chest of Lukic. So the first time in this one that Lukic has been tested, but again, he's up to the task.
Just like always, right? Good job by Lukic to be there for that one. Both attacks that they had right there. Because USC Aiken on that initial run down the field, they looked like they were going to have something brewing, couldn't get it to work.
There's a reason, like we mentioned, Lukic leads the Peach Bell Conference, almost one of the leaders in the entire nation. Ranks up there pretty high with some of the best goalkeepers in NCAA Division II men's soccer in saves per game. Makes another great stop there. Nighthawks do get this one to midfield as a Pacer hits the turf. Makagoe now forced back to Matos, past midfield to DJ Shin. DJ Shin, a Peach Bell Conference Defender of the Week this year as well. The Nighthawks have really been racking up those accolades in the PBC this season. Already a handful underneath their belt. Mitchell and Pais, Peach Bell Conference Players of the Week this season. DJ Shin, a Defender of the Week. Here is the aforementioned Pais trying to get it into Kano. And Romero looked like he was going to take the shot, have that taken away. And Mitchell now leaves it for Romero, gets it back. Ball stayed alive for just a moment in the box. No Nighthawk was able to come up on the ball to make a play, so they are forced back to midfield.
USC Aiken doing everything they can on defense right now to try to keep the Nighthawks out of the net. 30 minutes down in this one, 15 to go in this first half. UNG still the aggressor in this one. They've still been getting the ball into the box most, but USC Aiken just doing a nice job of staying disciplined back there. Yeah,
North Georgia just unable to finish those plays, like we've mentioned. Lots of action going on this left side of the field, but still just 2 shots in this one for North Georgia coming from Sandoval, and then Lara on that one that hooked left. This ball gets back to Lukic. Neither goalkeeper has recorded a save on the stat sheet either. So on that play just a few moments ago where Lukic was tested, was not enough for stats keepers here in the Dahlonega to put that down as a save. Matos without one as well.
And for all the action we've seen in this one, that's kind of hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, there's just been a lot of action going on especially the offensive end for North Georgia. As Mitchell tries to weave around the defender, it's going to be out of play on USC Aiken, but before North Georgia can get the ball, and it looks like they are going to make some substitutions here, as it looks like Pais, Kano, and Mitchell will step off. And it looks like Shango and Tyler Vitelli step on the field, along with another substitution for the Nighthawks that we will have in just a moment. That is number 16, Samuel Gomez, stepping on as well for North Georgia. Shango, like we mentioned earlier, is tied for first on the team in goals this year. He's got 4, along with Pais and Mitchell. Shango primarily playing in this sort of a role where he comes into the game late in the first half, as USC Aiken has a great opportunity here with Rabadon. Rabadon works his way in, and a great save off the mittens of Lukic keeps this game knotted at 0-0.
Just a fantastic job right there by Lukic. Just amazing. It was really a one-on-one once he made that second move, and Lukic did a nice job of staying composed, staying in front of that ball, and making sure that Rabadon didn't have another goal to add to his ledger this season.
Yeah, he was locked in and ready to go. He saw Rabadon, as soon as he crossed midfield, knew that something was going to happen. Rabadon was going to try to make a play. Just a great stop there by Lukic as he approaches 40 saves this season. So it will be the first corner opportunity of the game for USC Aiken, with 12:10 to go in the first half. As the Pacers send this one in, and this shot deflects off of a player and rolls out of play. A scary sight there for this North Georgia back line, results in another chance at a corner here for USC Aiken.
USC Aiken, this is really their first moment they've had in this game where you feel like they could get a goal. North Georgia trying to keep that from happening. Alexa Lukic had a nice save. Right now, obviously on his toes, as well as the rest of this UNG defense as the kick comes in.
The corner is sent in. Ball does take a couple bounces as this one rolls out of play off the foot of a Pacer, so it will be North Georgia's ball as this Nighthawks defense can take a bit of a breath.
A bit of an exhale for UNG right now. Going to try to be back where they want to be on the aggressive side of things here.
Now the Pacers just so hungry for this first goal here. Haven't scored since the last time they played North Georgia in that 1-4 loss. Like we mentioned, back-to-back games where the Pacers have been shut out. Two very close contests that they've competed in, just couldn't get anything going offensively. And so anytime that they can get a chance like that, you know that the heart rates are going to be up as they try to make another run here with Jame.
You know that's just eating at the Pacers right now, that they just can't seem to find the back of the net. It's not that they're not getting the shots on goal. It's just not happening for them right now. So they're going to try to fix that tonight. Coming up on 10 minutes left here in this first half. Soccer fields at Lynn Cottrell Park at the University of North Georgia in Dahlonega.
Yeah, Rabadon already with a flurry of opportunities in this first half. 4 shots for the veteran, a couple of shots as well for Demesme and Makagoe. Gomez already has one as well. As Ryan mentioned, we are approaching the 10-minute mark here at the UNG soccer field. Still scoreless as the Pacers try to work their way into the box. Pacer does hit the turf inside the lines, no call. As the Pacers make a late substitution in this first half. Andreas Carceres stepping on the field, the midfielder out of Lima, Peru, making his first appearance of the evening. As Lara is pressured back to midfield. Sandwiched between a couple of defenders, leaves it for Owen Wallace. Now gets it back to Lara, makes his way past midfield, keeps it on the ground to Jorge Sandoval. Sandoval is going to try to use his speed to get into the box, has it taken away. And that's something that we're kind of used to seeing. Here is DJ Shin, leaves it on the ground for Mitchell. Whew, a scary sight there for this Pacers back line as Mitchell almost came out the winning end, or Shango, excuse me, almost came out of the winning end of that play.
Nighthawk leading scorer, Stefan Shango right there too at that. Some tense moments right there for the Pacers. Luckily, another situation in which they got the ball out without giving up a goal to North Georgia. So they're just doing a really nice job staying in their assignments, making sure they don't let anyone get behind them or in front of them or get the ball around them. It's been real impressive by the Pacers. Although North Georgia has been the aggressor in this game, we're still even.
Yeah, that stop by USC Aiken really won't go down in the stats as anything, but just an underrated play made there by this Pacers back line to get the stop on Shango. That's the last player that the Pacers want to see in that situation. You know, a fresh pair of legs into the game. Shango had a good look there, but the Pacers were on top of it.
Yeah, it's good to describe Stefan Shango as like a spark plug kind of guy. He comes into the game as a sub, and you just know he's going to get the job done this season. Tied for the top of the team in goals. He also is third on the team in shots taken. So Stefan Shango, always a guy that wants to put points on the board and make things happen.
Here are the Pacers now on the attacking end. North Georgia's back line trying to make a play, but the Pacers weave their way in right into the chest of Lukic, who makes the stop yet again. Lukic gives it to this back line for Georgia now for North Georgia, now 7.5 remaining. One of these teams looking for a late first half push. Like we mentioned, it's going to be important for North Georgia to try to come away with a goal here in these final 7 minutes. If they are leading at half, that's where they've seen the most success this season, undefeated this year, when they go into the locker rooms with the lead. Just 2 wins compared to when the game is tied or they are trailing going into halftime.
And I'm sure that USC Aiken knows that as well coming into this game. That was on the stat sheet that they reviewed before this one. They know that if they can get to the second half, even with North Georgia, they're going to have a much better chance to come out of Dahlonega with a win tonight. North Georgia trying to still be aggressive, though, with about 6.5 left.
Here is Lara making his way past a few defenders. He makes his way into the box, takes the shot, again left for Lara. But that was a fantastic opportunity there as he used his speed to work his way into the box. But again, another one that just hooks left, and you just know that one's going to be eating at Lara going into the locker room.
That ball came off his foot with so much speed right there. That one is one he's going to have to think about in the locker room, unless, of course, he can get down there and get another shot at it in the next 6 minutes.
But it's great to see him just very involved in this game as he makes his way off of the field.
Now that one's definitely going to be eating at him all the way throughout halftime.
So the Nighthawks make a late substitution here in this first half as they bring on Mikey Jensen. Jensen, a junior out of Alpharetta, Georgia, transferred to North Georgia from Converse. He sees a lot of playing time this season as well. You'll typically see him in the starting lineup for Coach Lilich. Was a part of some really, really good Converse teams that won the Conference Carolinas tournament, both in 2022 and in 2023. So now the Nighthawks are forced into their back line. DJ Shin with the ball gets it to midfield. Here's Samuel Gomez, gives it back. Gomez, a freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, was ranked the number 11 soccer player in Georgia, number 57 nationally when he graduated last year. So he's a highly touted player that Coach Lilich was able to pick up in the offseason. Here's DJ Shin trying to make a stop. Ball does bounce out of play off of Tyler Vitelli, and so the Pacers will throw in. As Matt Kakoe gets it in. Pacers leave it on the ground, not strong enough there on that touch. An easy play made by North Georgia's back line. And as they look to respond, that one a bit too strong for Tyler Vitelli as the ball rolls out of play for another Pacers throw-in.
Yeah, Vitelli was coming with a full head of steam right there. He was going to have a real opportunity to make something happen as time winded down.
Yeah, Vitelli, a veteran on this North Georgia team, really took a step up last season in his game offensively, recorded a handful of goals and assists. And he's been serving and kind of a similar role to Shango, where he comes into the game late into the first half to try to provide some sort of firepower off the bench for this North Georgia team. And since he's really entered the game for North Georgia, he has been making some plays out there as they try to get one into him. Ball does get out of play as Brickman hits the turf. So the Pacers will take their time here with this free kick just past midfield. And like you mentioned, Ryan, it's definitely in the back of their minds that they know that, North Georgia, they know their record, when they're trailing or when they're tied at halftime. So if they can go into the locker room still tied at 0-0, this one, it's going to be an advantage for them. Even if they don't get a goal up on the board here in these next about 3 minutes or so, it'll still be a moral win for them here in these first 45 minutes.
Well, what's really interesting is you have to imagine that North Georgia came out with that aggressive approach, looking to put a goal or two up, and USC Aiken knew they were going to do such a thing, so they knew that they could just get through the first 45. They were going to have a really good shot. Obviously, UNG has shown a lot of their hands. USC Aiken, not so much. They haven't had the ball on their offensive third very much in this game. So those halftime adjustments, that's where I think you're going to see this thing start to shift a little bit.
Yeah, North Georgia just able to fire off 3 shots in this one. 8 shots that USC Aiken has gotten off against Lukic. 3 of those shots on goal here through these first 45 minutes.
And just watching from the naked eye of a viewer, you would not think that USC Aiken has more than doubled UNG's shot total in this one. Those first 20 minutes, you couldn't keep the ball off the Nighthawks' feet. Yeah,
I was about to say that beginning of the game was definitely all North Georgia, as we have our first offsides call of the game going against USC Aiken. So we are now approaching a minute and a half to go here in these first 45 minutes. Nighthawks looking to make one final push going into the locker room as they try to find Shango. Ball soars into the air. A couple of bodies hit the turf. A pacer is down in front of North Georgia's bench, so the clock will stop with a minute 20 to go. First stoppage of time we've had in this entire first half. Ryan, it's been a very clean game between these two teams, but still just a great defensive battle as well, as the pacer is able to get up and North Georgia will throw in. As the Nighthawks again put the pressure on this back line for USC Aiken, Pacers take it away. Now they try to respond. Now 1 minute to go here in this first half.
1 minute remaining in the half.
Ball does make its way out of play. So it will be a Pacers throw-in a good spot here. They're trying to work quickly underneath the light post here on the right side of your screen. Pacers do get it in. North Georgia's back line trying to make this one final stop. Ball does roll out of play, and it's off of the Pacers, so it will be North Georgia's ball with 30 seconds to go in the first half. Nighthawks keep it on the ground as Lukovic boots this one downfield, just trying to get an opportunity for Shango.
Good job by USC Aiken clearing that right there. UNG does get it back with 10 seconds left.
As this ball makes its way to midfield, both teams taking their foot off the gas here, and that is going to do it. A defensive battle between these two teams ends the first 45 minutes in a 0-0 tie up on the scoreboard. Ramadan leading USC Aiken with 4 shots in the first half. Lara with a pair of shots in the first as well. And both of these teams have their opportunities, but we are still knotted at 0-0. A fun first half, setting up an exciting second one. We will step aside for a short commercial break. You're watching North Georgia Soccer on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
All right, show me how you did that again. I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here. At Georgia Heart Institute, our breakthroughs in artificial intelligence could accurately model and predict future heart problems decades in advance, so you can make plans today to be just where you're needed tomorrow.
I'm here.
The future of heart care. We're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
The road to national championships runs through NCAA.com. And whether you follow one college team or all of them, it's never been easier to get the content you want with NCAA.com, the home of college sports.
At the heart of America's gold rush stands a beacon of leadership, tradition, and excellence. A university that has always led the way, forging an environment for broad-based academics, world-class athletics, and tomorrow's military leaders. The University of North Georgia. Learning and leadership, passion and preparation, transformation and tradition. We are the University of North Georgia.
Back with you here in the historic Gold City of Dahlonega, Georgia, where we are knotted up 0-0 at halftime between the Nighthawks and the Pacers on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Your score is 0-0 going into the half as we take a look at some of our Nighthawk notables. The 2024-2025 basketball schedules have been announced for North Georgia men's and women's basketball. Women's team opening up their season at home on November 8th. Men will take a couple more days to make their debut at home on November 12th. And Ryan, the North Georgia men's and women's basketball programs have a lot to be excited about coming into this year. The women's program, they missed the NCAA tournament last year for the first time in 6 seasons, but you can expect to see them competing early on, late into March as one of the best programs in NCAA Division II women's basketball, and the men's team coming off of one of the best seasons in program history for them under Dan Evans, making the Elite Eight last year. So just a lot to be excited about if you're a fan of North Georgia basketball.
Yeah, the women's team obviously has a bunch of returning players, so they know what they're doing. They have a lot of team chemistry that's going to work in their favor as the season goes along. The men's, making it all the way to the Elite Eight is not an easy task by any means, so to get that done is something special. Hopefully they can get it done this season big time. Home opener is going to be November 12th for the men's team, so it's going to be an exciting time.
And there's a lot to be excited about for North Georgia women's basketball, especially with Caroline Martin coming back, missed almost all of last season due to injury, so it's going to be exciting to see her back in the starting lineup for Coach Buffy and the Nighthawks. And a few more Nighthawk notables. Angelina Linikova earns the national runners-up in the ITA women's singles runner-up, the first tennis player in UNG history to make the ITA finals. She's been on an incredible run for North Georgia, a senior, a veteran for the North Georgia women's tennis program. She has quickly established herself as one of the best women's tennis players in the entire country. And when it comes to Nighthawk golf, they sweep the PBC Weekly Awards. Jack Voida named the PBC Men's Golfer of the Week, the second time that he has done that. And Ellie Jane, the PBC Women's Golfer of the Week, the first of her career. Ellie Jane Reiner been on an absolute tear as a rookie, making waves in the college golf world with placements of tied for 14th, tied for 5th, and now tied for 6th to start her career through 3 tournaments and 9 rounds, averaging 73 strokes per round she has been. And Jack Voida, a face that you are very, very familiar to seeing. You know, if you are a fan of North Georgia athletics, second consecutive week that he's been named the Peach Belt Conference Golfer of the Week, making history, the first player to win back-to-back awards for the Peach Belt Conference Men's Golfer of the Week in UNG history. First PBC golfer to do so since Leo Johansson of USC Aiken did so in October of 2021. So just a ton to be excited about if you are a fan of all North Georgia athletics around the university, especially when it comes to golf, tennis, and basketball. Another thing to be excited about is that North Georgia has new merch. With the all-new online retail store, fans can wear what the Nighthawks wear. Fans can choose from name brands like Nike, Ultra Club, Port Authority, and more. The Sideline Shops features gear for all sorts of situations. Get your apparel today at the NighthawkSidelineShop.com. Ryan, have you picked up any merch as of recently with the new NG logo on it?
I haven't just yet, but I actually was about to today during some downtime, so I think I'm going to get on that this evening. I know you said you just got something today.
Yes, I have a half sip in the mail, waiting with the new NG logo.
When it looks that good, how can you not
exactly
get some new gear?
Exactly. We have an exciting game here on the Nighthawk Sports Network, knotted at 0-0 between North Georgia and USC Aiken. North Georgia looking for their 7th win of the season, and the Pacers looking for their first PBC win of the season and their first win in the month of October. Lots of action in the first half, plenty of action coming your way. We will step aside for another commercial break. You're watching North Georgia Soccer on the Nighthawk Sports Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you in part by the Northeast Georgia Health System, the official healthcare partner of UNG Athletics. Bryan Properties, serving all your commercial real estate needs. Dahlonega Resort and Vineyard, Escape to the North Georgia mountains for your next weekend getaway. Achasta, golf, community, and tranquility. Coca-Cola, the official sideline provider for North Georgia Athletics.
Back with you here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. 30 seconds to go at halftime. Your score is still knotted at 0-0 as the teams come back out onto the field here at the UNG soccer field at Lynn Cottrell Park. Again, glad to have you all with us tonight alongside my partner Ryan Hutchison and the rest of the NSN team. Robert DiClemente on hand for you this evening. Both of the teams had their opportunities in the first half. USC Aiken more than North Georgia. 8 shots off in that first half for USC Aiken compared to just 3 for North Georgia. A pair of shots from Aram Lara off the mark. Jorge Sandoval got into the action as well. And Rabadon, a usual suspect for USC Aiken, got 4 shots off in that first half. So we are still knotted at 0-0. And Ryan, if one of these teams wants to break through on the scoreboard, what do they have to do here in the second half if they want to see a different result?
Well, as much as the shots sound a little different where USC Aiken has the majority of them, I think UNG's really been the more aggressive team, so I think they need to stay on that. As we mentioned earlier in the show, when they go into halftime with a lead, they are undefeated this season. They didn't get that done tonight, but I still think that UNG is in a better position. They just have to keep being aggressive. For USC Aiken on the other side of things, I think they're going to have to find a way to create more materialized opportunities as this game goes along. Whenever they got onto their side of the field, it kind of seemed like things were going a little fast for them, and they fizzled out quickly, although they did have 8 shots. So I think it's just going to be these halftime adjustments. We're going to see which coach is going to punch back better in the second half.
Yeah, and we mentioned this in the first half. You know, when you look at the stats, you wouldn't think that USC Aiken got more shots off in that half compared to North Georgia, especially from what we saw in the opening minutes of the game where North Georgia was very aggressive. Just neither team's been unable to put anything up on the scoreboard as we are underway here in the second half. North Georgia women's soccer also tied in their matchup on the road against Georgia College in a game that's 1-1 heading into the second half of that one as well. Chloe Diaz, the lone goal scorer for North Georgia, trying to come away with the win on the road is Coach Ralton and the North Georgia women's soccer program. Ava Martin scoring the goal for Georgia College. That's going to be an interesting matchup to follow. Should end around the same time that this one does here in Dahlonega.
Yeah, the women's soccer team knotted up 1-1 this week, ranked number 5 in the United Soccer Coaches regional ranking. So a good week for them and trying to pick up a big win. Of course, they're playing at the same time as the men, so we'll keep you updated on what's going on over there for the women's team.
Yeah, just a very exciting season yet again for Coach Ralton and her Nighthawks, coming off of a very great season as well. The best season under Coach Ralton in the 5 seasons that she has been here. The women's team lost a lot of veterans in the offseason that graduated, but they have really not missed a beat this season. They are still one of the best teams in the Peach Belt Conference and expect to see them potentially ranked top 25 again very, very soon.
Yeah, we spoke very highly of this men's back line, but that women's back line has been something to watch this season. The whole group defensively really has been able to get the job done at an elite level, and it's showing off with their rankings, with their record. Just great job by Coach Ralton and that team.
Yeah, time and time again, Coach Ralton puts out some of the best back lines in not just the PBC, but the entire country. We've seen, a lot of shutouts for this back line for North Georgia over the last few seasons. And, again, this year, they are just picking up right where they left off last year with their All-American, Sierra Fowler, in goal for them as well. She's missed some time due to injury, but it's great to see her back in the starting lineup for the Nighthawks. So, like Ryan said, we will be keeping you guys updated on the North Georgia women's soccer game as well as we are following this one here in Dahlonega. A great matchup between these two PBC foes in North Georgia and USC Aiken.
Nice tackle right there. And I think what you want to stay away from in this one is the early punch, right? If you're USC Aiken, you want to keep North Georgia out of the goal in these first 10 minutes. If you're North Georgia, you don't want to be so aggressive that on the other end you get into some trouble on the backside of that. So you want to just stay composed. Obviously, this game, if you get a goal here, you want to go into a bit of a defensive mode, but I think both of these teams have come out pretty aggressive so far.
Yeah, these first 10 to 15 minutes or so are going to be extremely important with these fresh legs into the game. Here is Sandoval, leaves it for Shango. This shot is deflected, and the Nighthawks aggressive early here in this first half as they fire that shot off against Matos. But again, the score stays knotted at 0-0 after another great play. Here is USC Aiken on the response, but that shot's off the mark. And a couple of kind of bang-bang back-to-back opportunities here for these two offenses.
Exactly what I was just talking about. Sometimes you can get a little carried away, and things happen quick in this game. And for both sides right there, a chance for North Georgia, and then the returning end, a chance for USC Aiken. So now how can you settle in? Both teams have seen something they hadn't seen before. North Georgia going to try to go down the field here and get their shot at it.
Yeah, the Pacers almost caught this Nighthawks defense off guard there, almost caught him sleeping on the play. Here is Shango again, tries to weave his way into the box. He's almost tackled from behind, stays upright, leaves it for Jensen. This one crosses into the box, stays alive, headed out of there by the Pacers. Sandoval gets it, he takes the shot, keeps it on the ground. And Matos again, another great stop by the freshman.
Same thing we saw in the first half. North Georgia's just coming out really aggressive. Couple good looks right there for Shango, for Sandoval. Couldn't get him to convert, but you like what you're seeing right now out of that North Georgia offense. They haven't skipped a beat, and that's what we were talking about as we went into half, is how would they stay away from doing such a thing.
That's now 2 shots for Sandoval, 2 for Mitchell in this game, and 2 for Lara. So yeah, a lot of opportunities here in these first handful of minutes for North Georgia to try to make something happen offensively, very similar to the start we saw from them in the first half. Pacers try to take it away at midfield, and they do, as they've now got a player streaking near the screen, as that is Harris with the ball. He tries to work around Jensen. Harris crosses into the box. Scary opportunity here for USC Aiken as they keep it in play. And Parks Harris, a player that North Georgia also asked to contain tonight, a former Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week this season. He's had a really great sophomore campaign. Had a pair of goals just a couple of weeks ago, leading to that Player of the Week award.
Yeah, 2 goals on the season for Parks Harris. He's T2, or not T2, he is second in the UCSA goals scored this season, so he's a big part of what that USC Aiken offense is able to do. Here's a look, and it's going to sail right over the net.
That one's soaring over both nets here at the UNG soccer field. Goes all the way into the parking lot. So it will be a goal kick here for Lukic. As this North Georgia back line tries to make something happen. 3 saves for Lukic and 3 for Matos so far in this one. Dead even between the 2 goalkeepers.
Just as we expected between these two earlier in the show when we were talking about them, safety nets back there, and they both done their job tremendously so far. Neither one of them is shying away in the face of some adversity in this one.
Yeah, both new faces on the team. Matos, a freshman, and Lukic, a transfer to North Georgia. This is both of these players, their first season with these programs. Here is Kano trying to make his way past the defender. He had pressure on him, so now Nighthawks will try to work on the far side with Shango. Shango tries to work his way into the box, and a great cutoff there by USC Aiken's back line.
USC Aiken, much of the same. It's almost like in football, you let them get down to the red zone, and then you don't let anything else happen. That's what USC Aiken seems to be doing. Once UNG can get deep into their attacking third, USC Aiken just getting stronger and stronger and not allowing them to get the looks they want.
Trying to get a through ball over there on the far side. As the Pacers work this ball around, stays on the ground and will just roll out of play as these Pacers midfielders and forwards tried to put the pressure on, but Lukic not having to do too much on that one. As we are now almost 10 minutes gone here in this second half. Still knotted That donuts up on the scoreboard. Here is DJ Shin. Gets it past midfield to Mikey Jensen. Jensen has a little bit of room to work. Will get it in. It is now Mikey Jensen with the ball. Leaves it for Daviena. Daviena tries to chip it in. Soars out of there from the Pacers.
Looked like that didn't go exactly how Daviena was planning. Not sure if someone got a foot on it or what happened there, but it didn't look like it had the power that it was supposed to have.
Here's an opportunity for North Georgia trying to make their way into the box. Ball stays alive for the moment. A Pacer hits the turf. Nighthawks maintain possession. No call as they make their way into the box. Sandoval has room to work. He takes the shot. Soars over the goal, and that is probably the best look that North Georgia has had in this game with their superstar freshman.
Most on the team in shots this season with 18 coming into play. Had another good look right there. Couldn't make anything of it. And unfortunate because, like you mentioned, Robert, that was one of the best looks that the Nighthawks have had all night from a really good striker.
Sandoval had all the room in the world to work with there. The star freshman out of Gainesville, Georgia, very highly touted coming into college. Won a couple of state championships with Johnson High School. Scored 83 goals, the third most in Johnson history. Was the #1 ranked player in the country in 2023. So a huge pickup for Coach Lilich in the offseason. And if he's got to look like that again, got to think that he's going to take advantage and put the Nighthawks up 1-0.
Yeah, UNG has been reaping the benefits of getting Sandoval on this offense. Normal players don't have those kinds of accolades, and he's definitely not a normal player as we've seen this season. And not a normal look there as he missed the net, but I'm sure he'll get another opportunity at it. About 35 minutes left here.
Yeah, Sandoval is one of those dual threat players for North Georgia, one of the leaders in the PBC in assists, but he can find the back of the net when he has to. Nighthawks keep this ball on the right side of the field as the Pacers try to find Harris on the play as they get a great looking through ball in there to Rabadon. Rabadon tries to work his way past a North Georgia wall, and that wall stands strong as they make another defensive stop.
Really nice play right there on Jose Rabadon. That's not the guy you want in that situation. Strong stand by the UNG back line, making sure he couldn't wreak any havoc in this one.
Here is Aram Lara trying to weave around a flurry of defenders. They leave it for Shango on the left side. Shango gives it back to Lara. Lara pushed back a tad, maintains possession of the ball, now gives it to DJ Shin. Shin now to Shango, back to Shin. Ball deflects off a Pacer and deflects off North Georgia's bench, and it'll be a throw-in for the Nighthawks in front of the Nighthawks on their side of the field. As it looks like the clock will stop with 33:12 to go. Looks like a Nighthawk out there tying his cleat. That was Pais. The temperatures have definitely dropped since the sun has set here in Dahlonega. Now about 47 degrees outside. You can see the blankets coming out on North Georgia's bench, and the hoodies and the blankets out here in the crowd here at the UNG soccer field.
I'm waiting for you to pull our blanket out from under the table right here.
I came underprepared today. Definitely shorts were not the move for tonight, I'll say that.
They were not.
This has easily been the coolest game that we have had this season here at home. It's only going to get colder from here, too, up in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Ball does go out of play, and so North Georgia throws it in. As they get this one to Sandoval, Pacers cut that one off. As they send this one downfield, trying to find Gomes on the play. As they get this back to Lukic, and a scary sight here for North Georgia as this shot hooks right. A great opportunity there for USC Aiken to capitalize, to try to take the lead. But that shot just off the mark there, and it stays knotted at 0-0. We would like to remind all of you once more, like we did at halftime, that North Georgia with all new merch this year with a bunch of brands like Nike, Ultra Club, Port Authority with the new NG logo. Get your apparel today at nighthawksidelineShop.com. So now with 31:30 to go, North Georgia and Lukovic are going to force this one back to Lukic. Make a run up on the ball, get this one almost to midfield, headed back by a pacer. Here is USC Aiken, that pass just off the mark. USC Aiken not on the same page there. And here is Shango trying to make something happen. That one is cut off by the pacer. Shango somehow maintains possession for the moment. Boy, this Pacers back line makes another stop. Here is Kano trying to make his way into the box. He takes the shot. This one just misses that bottom left corner of the goal. Had that one just hooked it a bit farther right, Ryan, we could have been looking at 1-0 North Georgia lead.
Yeah, you saw the frustration there on Kano's face and in his actions. Definitely wants that one back. And just another situation where North Georgia gets a good look and can't get it in the back of the net. And you know as well as I do, those only come ever so often in a game with a defense as good as USC Aiken's. So they got to start taking advantage of those when they get them. Clock is ticking down to about a half hour left in this one.
Yeah, Kano, another player that USC Aiken doesn't want to see in that sort of situation with that sort of room to operate. A PBC all-conference selection coming into the preseason here in the Peach Belt Conference, led North Georgia in goals last year. And he's been a little bit quieter here in 2024, but still, if you give him that sort of room to work, 99 times out of 100, he's going to make you pay.
And USC Aiken really lucky that they got that 1 out of 100 time right there. And obviously you saw Kano's reaction, very frustrated with himself, but more than likely going to have a chance to make up for it right here. Nice steal by North Georgia.
Here is North Georgia on the attack. Shango with room to work. He makes his way into the box, takes the shot, and this one soars over to the Steiner. Man, he got all of that one.
He did.
This one soars well over the goal. So it will be USC Aiken's ball. Now North Georgia and Dave Vienna at midfield. They're forced back into their back line. You can see some players over there on the left side of the screen getting warmed up for USC Aiken. Got to stay warm, especially during these frigid temperatures we got. Here is Sandoval trying to make something happen, keeps it on the ground as this shot just goes off the top of the goalpost, and just an incredible opportunity there for North Georgia. Again, couldn't capitalize, but the ball stays on the right side of the field. And the crowd almost erupting here at the UNG soccer field.
This place would have lost it had that one gone in, but now UNG going to have to fight back right here on defense. USC Aiken made it down the field quickly, looking to make a move here inside the box.
Yeah, USC Aiken trying to chip one in to Rabadon. And again, this North Georgia back line stands strong.
That intensity that we saw early in the first half has come right back into this one. UNG's gotten the looks. They found something in this USC Aiken defense they want to exploit.
Here is Sandoval, pushed back a tad to Mikey Jensen. And now almost all the way back to midfield with DJ Shin. Nighthawks trying to make their way into the box, but no Nighthawk in the vicinity there. This one gingerly rolls out of play. It'll be a goal kick for Matos. This one stays on the ground. Again, just bounces out of play, so momentum coming to a bit of a halt here as the Pacers look to throw in, as they make some substitutions as well. So with 26:40 to go, these two teams have been in a defensive battle as they throw this one in. Pacers now looking to make something happen. Ball just soars out of play.
Nice work right there, eliminating the threat before it even became an issue there. USC, Aiken looked like they had an opportunity. They were going to try to get the ball to Rabadon.
So it will be another Pacers throw in. This one takes a couple of bounces and lands at the feet of Rogers. Rogers soars it to the other side of the field. Here come the Pacers trying to make their way into the box. Another stop there by this North Georgia back line. Ball rolls out of play right in front of Shango at midfield.
Stepping onto the field for the Pacers, number 35.
So the Pacers will throw in.
Number 37, Andres Caceres.
Ball rolls out of play where the players, as we just mentioned, for USC Aiken, warming up over there in the corner next to the new NCAA logo here at the UNG soccer field.
Even more important to get those warm-ups in on a night like this, and I think you see almost every member of the USC Aiken team over there, and you get down into the 40s in these temperatures in the foothill mountains of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and you got to stay warm somehow, and USC Aiken over there making sure their players are loose, because more than likely going to start seeing some subs here as the minutes wind down.
Here is Dave Vienna. Gets it to an open Kano. Kano pressured from behind, almost has the ball taken away from him. Ball just spins out of play, so it will be USC Aiken's ball. Kano with a pair of shots fired off in this game, as Dave Vienna just sends this one into the crowd here at the UNG soccer field. Dave Vienna, a veteran on this North Georgia team, like we mentioned, responsible for one of North Georgia's 2 goals in their last contest against Georgia Southwestern.
Dave Vienna, one of those seniors on this roster, so brings the leadership that Coach Lilich is looking for on this team, and this is a moment where you need that leadership late in the game. Cold night, close game. You feel like you should probably have the advantage in this one, but just haven't got the shots to fall, so this is where you really lean on those veterans on your roster.
Speaking of some veterans, are stepping into the game right now for North Georgia, some fresh legs in Harris Osman Basic and Tyler Vitelli coming into the game. Osman Basic making his first appearance in this one, Vitelli his second. So Osman Basic trying to provide a kind of a spark off the bench as the Pacers are offsides on the play. You can see Lukic talking to his back line here, and the clock will stop as a yellow card is going to be assessed. The first one thrown in this game. That one going to USC Aiken. So it will be North Georgia's ball as the clock stops with 23:26 to go.
Stepping onto the field for North Georgia, number 7, Harris Osman Mason.
Looks like the Pacers may have tried to argue that call. That was almost a scary sight there for Lukic to be in a one-on-one opportunity there with the Pacers. But again, still knotted at 0-0. Clock will stop again with 23:08 to go, as it looks like the ref is looking for a new soccer ball. Nice hands there.
That was a good catch, wasn't it?
Keep that one in play, and so the clock will continue to roll. 23:05 to go.
Yellow card issued number 37, Andres Caceres of USC Aiken.
And Caceres picks up that yellow card for the Pacers.
Just subbed into the game as well, if I'm not mistaken. So quickly a yellow, not what USC Aiken was looking for off the bench. But back to another substitution, Harris Osman Basic. I don't think you can talk about the Nighthawks' offensive output without talking about him this season.
Yeah, Osman Basic, he is a familiar face for this North Georgia team. This is his second year with the program, his second stint with the University of North Georgia. Had a great freshman campaign back in 2022, finds himself back with the Nighthawks here in 2024. And like you mentioned, if he has any sort of breakaway opportunity or you give him any sort of green grass, he's going to make you pay. And here he is with the ball, trying to get a through ball into Vitelli, as this is wrapped up by Matos, and those two subs that just came into the game almost connected there on a play for North Georgia.
Just one of those guys that wants to make something happen immediately. Osman Basic to Vitelli didn't work out, but you can see what Coach Lilich was looking for right there off the bench. That immediate impact, almost had it.
And that can almost be the deciding factor in this game is, what subs coming on here for either one of these teams. A new face in the lineup can make something happen, as Jensen sends this one in. This one soars over the head of a few Nighthawks in the area, as this shot just off the mark by Sandoval, or by DJ Shin, that is over there on the far side, and definitely wants that one back. Was a more than a few steps from outside of the box, but he still had a great look. Almost put that one in.
He almost did, and I thought for just a second he was a little far, but proved me wrong immediately with the power on that kick. Just missed it to the right there. But like you were talking about, these players coming off the bench, that spark plug effect, that's what you're looking for. Because when you get down to 20 minutes left, you're getting into the one goal wins it territory. And whoever scores can make that happen with the way these defensives have played. Again, I'd like to say that North Georgia looks like they have the advantage on the offensive side of things in this half.
Daviana keeps it on the ground to Kano. Kano now gives it back to Laura. Laura now to Shin, who just took that previous shot. Nighthawks try to get it into the box, and again, just another defensive stop here by USC Aiken, but the Nighthawks take it away. Here is Laura trying to weave his way into the box. He's met with a flurry of defenders. Leaves it over there on the left side as this shot crosses into the box and gets back to the feet of Daviana. Pacers try to take it away. Jensen gives it back to Shin.
Big step in right there by USC Aiken to stop the momentum that North Georgia built.
Osman Basic trying to come in from the right side to get a touch on that ball, but just rolls right over to Matos for another goal kick. Ball will bounce out of play just in front of USC Aiken's bench. North Georgia throws it in. We mentioned in the opener, this is a big test for North Georgia tonight. 6-4-1 currently on the season. 6 wins has kind of been where this team has capped out over the last handful of years. They broke through with 9 wins last year, so this is a big opportunity here for them to kind of right their wrongs, and a great play there made by Daviana. The Nighthawks take it away. Here is Kano, tries to make his way into the box. Pacers again make the stop. Pacers hit the turf. Here is Daviana. Daviana tries to keep it on the ground, and had he gotten maybe just a little bit of air underneath that one, Ryan, could have possibly found an open Nighthawk on the play.
Yeah, that's what he was looking for right there, wasn't it? Just another shot at North Georgia. They're trying everything they can right here to try and put a ball in the net. They know that one goal can get the job done. Try to set it up again right here.
Here is Laura, who pushes it back to DJ Shin. Now over there on the far left side, the Nighthawks are going to try to weave their way into the box, get it back to DJ Shin. Similar spot to where he took the shot before. This one is just punched out of there by Matos. Ball stays in play as Matos and Osman Basic hit the turf. Another player has hit the turf for North Georgia. Clock will continue to roll as Vitelli gets back up to his feet. The clock will stop now with 18:12 to go, as looks like Matos has gone back down.
Yeah, I think it was Osman Basic and Matos that had the collision over there, left side of the net.
So it looks like the trainers may come on here to check on the freshman goalkeeper for USC Aiken. There's just a lot of action going on over there on the goal line between Osman Basic and Matos, who had gotten up for a moment to kind of get back into the play. But once the ball had eventually rolled out, he went right back to the turf and onto his back. And so we mentioned clock stops with 18:12 to go. Trainers out there to check on Matos, but this is definitely a tough spot here if you're USC Aiken with your starting goalkeeper down. Could see some goalkeepers on the bench for the Pacers starting to get warmed up over there.
Yeah, obviously wishing our best for Felipe Matos. He's been such a strong point as he gets up, it looks like, over there next to the goal. It looks like he's going to be able to continue, so that's a good sign. But if he wasn't, that's where this cold night and keeping your players warm really comes in. You never know when the moment's going to happen that you have to step up. Almost had one for USC Aiken right there, but looks like Felipe Matos is good to go, and we are ready to roll.
So the clock will stop again with 18:02 to play. As we now resume, as Matos boots this one downfield again, like Ryan said, glad that he is back up on his feet. Ball takes a couple of bounces now at midfield. Nighthawks are pushed back, try to get it into the middle of the field with an open Tyler Vitelli on the right side. Here is Laura. He's got Jensen to his right. Decides to give it left to Kano, now to midfield with Lukovic. As the Nighthawks try to work their way into the box. That one just off the mark in front of Mikey Jensen. Ball will soar over the head of Dave Vienna and back over to the left side of your screen.
And I'm sure UNG right now spilling blood in the water with whatever went on with Felipe Matos. They know that there's a bit of a disadvantage now with the USC Aiken goalkeeper. You want to keep that pressure on him right now. Keep the pressure on this Pacers defense because he's starting to find some cracks now.
Yeah, just like we saw in that first half, it's been North Georgia putting the pressure on USC Aiken's back line. Haven't had a ton of opportunities to get shots off. Definitely more in the second half compared to the first. 12 total shots now for North Georgia. They had 3 in the first half. They've now matched the Pacers, each with 12 apiece.
And like we said, their best offensive performance last time they went to USC Aiken, that 4-1 victory. And the offense has had the looks to make it another good offensive performance, but USC Aiken so far has done a nice job of just making sure that doesn't happen.
And the odds are in favor for North Georgia to eventually find the back of the net. They've only been shut out once this season. That was on the road in an 0-2 loss at Lander back on September 18th. And a bit of a miscue there between the back line for USC Aiken and their goalkeeper, as this one will roll out of play. There were a couple of Nighthawks in the vicinity to try to take over. As this one is thrown in. Pacers were trying to find Saverda.
You can feel the energy building here at the soccer fields at Lynn Cottrell Park. These fans out here for Spirit Night, they want to see UNG put one in the back of the net. It does not happen yet, but they've had plenty of opportunities, and it feels like every time that they get the ball in their possession solely, they're able to build an attack and try to make it happen. We're going to see this time as they start to inch into their attacking third, now cleared back to midfield.
Yeah, and like we mentioned in that first half, what's been USC Aiken's strongest aspect of their team over the last handful of games has been their back line. Only allowing 1 goal in their past 2 contests. So far, they've kept North Georgia off the scoreboard here as this one bounces out of play right underneath the Jumbotron here at Lynn Cottrell Park. And we are now under 15 minutes to go with 14:30 remaining in this contest. So if this one stays knotted at 0-0, the clock is going to stop if any team decides to make a substitution here in this one. Ball gets past midfield, eventually makes its way to the turf. Osman Basic tries to track it down. USC Aiken is there as this one just skies to the head of Daviena. Here is Lara now to Vitelli. Vitelli keeps the ball alive for Osman Basic. Osman Basic on the right side keeps it almost in play. Looks like that one deflected off of a pacer, so it's going to give North Georgia a corner opportunity here. We saw a flurry of those opportunities for North Georgia in the first half. Not so much in the second, but this is a good chance for them to capitalize here.
Feels like a big moment in this game right now for North Georgia getting this corner kick. Adam Lauda going to be the one to take it.
So Lauda sends it in. This one is headed into the air and out of play by the Nighthawks, and so it's going to be another goal kick here for Matos. That corner opportunity for North Georgia, their fourth of the game. Pacers only having 2 so far in this contest. Jensen gets it past midfield to Kano. That one's cut off.
Just another good example of that USC Aiken back line being right there.
As we are going to have a whistle. So it'll be a free kick for North Georgia. Daviena trying to work at midfield, leaves it on the left side to DJ Shin. Now Shango on the far side, leaves it with that pass just off the mark, trying to get it to Pais. And so here is USC Aiken on the response, and a great sliding tackle made there by Lara. It's going to be a throw-in for USC Aiken.
Good job by Adam Lauder right there to put his body on the line for the team. Getting down late, we mentioned that any moment in this game could be the defining one. USC Aiken starting to get a bit of the momentum, holding the ball a little bit longer. So
the clock is going to stop here with 11:55 to go. It looks like a Nighthawk has hit the turf, and so the trainers will come out to check on him. It's been a very aggressive second half here. We've seen bodies kind of hitting the turf all throughout these final 45 minutes, and especially like we mentioned, with this weather, you got to stay warm, got to stay on your toes here in this one, and it's definitely been a more aggressive final 45 minutes than it has been in the first half.
Yeah, it has been, and even the first half was aggressive, so to be such an aggressive game like we've seen, it feels like both offenses, when they get a chance, they really dig in and try to strike towards the goal, but no goals for either side. So what's been so aggressive-based and trying to push the agenda and make things happen so far, zeros on both ends. So who's going to be the one to make the big play? Is there going to be subs from either side that come in and provide that spark? Obviously, for UNG, you look at Stefan Shango as the guy to make it happen. So just so much is going to go into these last 12 minutes of play here.
So as we are still knotted at 0-0 here on the scoreboard, tied between North Georgia and USC Aiken here in Dahlonega. UNG women's soccer has broken their tie with Georgia College on the road in Milledgeville, now up 2-1. That matchup with about 18 minutes to go. Nighthawks with the 2-1 lead. Adelaide Wheeler finding the back of the net for North Georgia to give them the lead, as the fallen Nighthawk Max Mitchell makes his way off the field. That's definitely a big loss for North Georgia if Mitchell is unable to come back into this one. One of the leaders on this team in goals scored this year. So the Nighthawks go to their bench and bring Gomez on the field for the second time here in this contest. So no Mitchell or Shango on the field right now for North Georgia. Those two players combining for 8 goals this season. So the clock continues to roll with 11:30 remaining here in this contest. Daviena gets it past midfield, trying to find an open Nighthawk over there on the right side underneath the light post, so it will be a throw-in for North Georgia now, and deflected off of a pacer, as it looks like we're going to have another substitution, so the clock will stop with 11:09 to go. And the superstar freshman, Jorge Sandoval, back into the game for North Georgia. This is exactly the kind of player that Coach Lilich wants to put in the game in this sort of situation.
Yeah, especially if you lose Max Mitchell right there. Jorge Sandoval, a big need for this team. And
stays alive as Sandoval takes the shot, and that's, again, taken care of by this back line for USC Aiken. Ball gets back to Sandoval on the right corner just outside the box. He sends it in again. This one's kicked out of there by Matos. Eventually hits the turf, and the Pacers have some numbers, but North Georgia's back line and Lukovic is there.
Nice job by Vukic and Lukovic right there to make sure nothing got by him. Stay disciplined even though it felt like the moment was coming for North Georgia. Able to neutralize the USC Aiken attack on the other end of the field and keep this game 0-0.
These two programs have quite the history, been facing off since 2002. Had some battles in the PBC tournament, most recently in 2022. Nighthawks took down the Pacers in a 4-0 win to get to the quarterfinals in the PBC tournament. So even though North Georgia's been on the winning end of a lot of these matchups, it's still, they've been matching up in some big-time situations as of late. And the clock will stop again, it looks like, as the Pacers are going to make a flurry of substitutions. And we'll see if that warming up over there on the sideline is going to pay dividends here for USC Aiken, bringing some fresh legs into the game with under 10 minutes to go. Like we mentioned, that could be a key in this matchup here, is what subs are going to make the biggest impact in this game. Here's Caceres, who almost had an open Rabadon on the play, may have lost track of the ball for a moment, gets back to the feet of Lukic. So now with under 10 minutes to go, North Georgia looking for their third three-game winning streak of the season. And the Pacers looking for their first win of October and first PBC win this year. The Nighthawks went 3-0 from September 21st to the 29th against Georgia Southwestern, Flagler, and USC Aiken, the team that they are playing right now. And that loss for USC Aiken a couple weeks ago was the start of that three-game losing skid for them.
They definitely don't want to repeat that here.
Nice touch from Osman Basic. Crowd is on their feet. Sandoval has this one taken away. That was a great 1-2 connection there between the veteran and the freshman. She couldn't capitalize there. Here is Aram Lara. Tries to make his way into the box. He's met with a flurry of defenders. Ball stays on the right side of the field for the time being. Lara comes up with it, gets it to an open Jensen on the right side. Crowd is back on their feet, and this one deflects off of a pacer. Gets back to Lara. Lara with another opportunity. He hits the turf. No call there. And had that gone North Georgia's way, it would have given him a free kick in dangerous territory.
Yeah, that's another one of those big moments we might look back on in this one. No call right there. Let them play on. Changed fields. UNG now going to try to get back into their attacking third and get right back into this.
Here is Kano. He's got pressure from behind. They leave it for Shin. Now Lara with room to work in the midfield. Lara tries to chip it into the box. This one is again headed out of there by the Pacers. And everybody for USC Aiken on this right side of the field. Pacers doing everything they can to just keep North Georgia off of the scoreboard. Now approaching 7 minutes to go. Here is Kano with players on him. Nighthawks almost make their way into the box. Another Nighthawk hits the turf. No call again, and Pacers trying to flip the field.
Another big no call right there.
Here is Caceres. They tried to get this one into him, but he is going to be whistled for being offsides, and so will be North Georgia's ball, and that's unfortunately been a little bit of USC Aiken's downfall in this one as well. Just a couple of offsides calls not going their way.
Yeah, 3 offsides calls for USC Aiken, all of which obviously could be big moments if they're not called. North Georgia here at midfield going to try to attack once again on USC Aiken. 6.5 minutes left in this one.
Here is Lara. Tries to get it to Sandoval. Sandoval with the speed tries to work around a defender, but he loses control of the ball. Ball gets back to Lara, now to Osman Basic. Osman Basic with a player on his hip, now 2. Tries to weave around the defender, ball deflects off of a pacer, and the Nighthawks are going to get a great opportunity out of this with a corner. It looks like they're going to work quickly with Mikey Jensen. Now looks like they are going to switch it up, deferring this one to Jorge Sandoval, one of the leaders in the Peach Belt Conference in assists this season. Can he get another one here? As he crosses this one in, ball stays alive, almost gets back to Jensen. Ball skies into the darkness here at the UNG soccer field, gets to the feet of Lukovic. And now back to Lara. Lara takes the shot. This one deflects off the back of a pacer. Gets back to DJ Shin. Here is Osman Basic on the left side. This one deflects off of a pacer. And boy, the back line for USC Aiken time and time again has stood strong as they flip the field. And just like USC Aiken's back line, North Georgia makes the stop.
Big play right there. All the momentum that North Georgia has, it feels like USC Aiken was about to steal all of it right there until that step in. Big moment.
Now it has moved back to the right side of the field. Under 5 minutes to go. Everybody on their feet for North Georgia, as well as USC Aiken. Both of these teams trying to find any sort of life offensively as they keep this one on the ground and into the box. Again, sword out of there by USC Aiken. Ball hits the turf, and the Pacers clear it almost to midfield. Trying to get it into Rabadon, who has 6 shots in this one. Got to think in these last 5 minutes, he's going to be the player most involved for USC Aiken. They can flip it over to the left side of the field.
And that just felt like a cruel replay every time. UNG got the ball in, and there's a USC Aiken Pacer to kick it away to midfield again. So going to set it up once more here.
Here's DJ Shin now to Lara. And Kano on the far side hooks this one out of play. So it will be a throw-in. Clock will stop with 47 to go as the Pacers are going to make a substitution. It looks like Park Harris steps back into the contest for the Pacers.
Second leading goal scorer on the team.
Yeah, this is exactly the kind of person that the Pacers need to get going here in this situation. He's got the fresh legs, so he's going to be going 110% on the attacking end for USC Aiken here in these final few minutes. Here is Lara now to Jensen. Back to Lukovic.
UNG, they want to get to that left side, it seems. Every time on offense, they must have something drawn up right there.
Yeah, haven't seen a whole lot of action nearest to your screen as Lara finds an open Nighthawk on the right side, and Jensen. Ball takes a couple of spins, stays in the box, and the Pacers clear it. Now get it back to Dave Vienna. And the Pacers take over at midfield, as now they have a good opportunity here, but again, offsides called on Rabadon, and he's definitely going to want to have that one back.
Well, Rabadon's doing it, I've got to feel purposely. It feels like he's boarding that line, trying to get away with one of those, because if he does, it's going to be a hard goal for Alexa Lukic to stop.
Punched out of there by Matos. Ball stays on the right side of the field for North Georgia. Stays on the ground for Sandoval. Sandoval with 3 defenders on him. The clock is going to stop, though, with 2:26 remaining as a Pacer is down in the box. Boy, the aggression and the intensity in this second half has been turned up to 110% in this one. The dials are all the way up in this one. Both of these teams know what's at stake here in this matchup, and about everybody's heartbeats are going about 150 per minute.
And it almost feels like frustration for North Georgia at this very moment because we know they've had the looks. Obviously, Sandoval had that clean look. There was another one that hit off the crossbar. So there's just things that are happening right now for UNG where they've had the opportunities all night long. Just doesn't seem like the ball's bouncing their way right now. But, of course, you want to give USC Aiken's defense and back line their full credit. They've done a fantastic job of making sure none of these attacks are really materializing for North Georgia.
And that's what we touched on, a handful of times in this game, is that their back line has just been incredibly strong all season long for USC Aiken. And they've only allowed one or fewer goals 4 times this season. Looking to make that 5 here in this matchup against North Georgia. That's really been where they've shined here in 2024. With the score knotted up at 0-0. Just once again, they have been spectacular on that end of the field. And so is North Georgia as well. Got to give their back line a lot of credit as well.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like North Georgia's back line. We haven't talked about them as much in this game because the offense has been on it from the word go, but they've done a great job of making sure that everything that could materialize for USC Aiken just hasn't, especially off the foot of Jose Rabadon.
So it looks like Osmond Basic steps up the field for North Georgia, and Shango is back on the field for the Nighthawks. Clock will stop with 2:09 to go as another Pacer hits the turf. And these stoppages of time gives both of these teams just a chance to kind of catch their breath, calm down a little bit, kind of reset their emotions and lock back into this game. But this gives USC Aiken a free kick and a good spot here. So here are the Pacers. Fernandez keeps it on the ground as the Pacers try to send this one in. Headed out of there by Daviena. Stays alive for Caceres. Caceres is going to take the shot. That one deflects off of Daviena. And the Pacers are forced back into their back line. Boy, these back lines for both of these teams, anytime one of these teams gets a road, they just turn it into a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, both of these back lines are just making sure that the offense can't get by them. They've done a great job so far in this one, reaching 1.5 minutes left to go here.
Nighthawks almost get this one in to the box. Pacers take over in front of North Georgia's bench. Here is Lukovic. Nighthawks do have some numbers. Sandoval tries to chip it in as Shango tracks it down. This one deflects off of Matos and out of play. Clock continues to roll. Now we'll stop with 1:09 to go. And the Nighthawks are going to have a corner opportunity here, a big one, as we are approaching the final few moments of this game. So the corner is sent in. Ball takes a couple bounces on the ground. Shango takes the shot, almost followed up by a couple of Nighthawks. As we are now at 1 minute to go. This ball's chipped into the box. And another play made by this back line for USC Aiken. Here is Harris tracking down the ball for the Pacers. They have some numbers. Can Lara make the stop? Harris makes his way into the box, and a great stop by Lukic. A fantastic play by the North Georgia goalkeeper. Keeps this knotted at 0-0 with 35 seconds to go. Pacers are going to have an opportunity here on the corner. This could be the final opportunity of the game for the Pacers to put a goal up on the board. 28 seconds to go as the clock stops. And the pressure is on here at the UNG soccer field. The crowd waits in anticipation. The corner is sent in, cleared out of there by North Georgia's back line. Lara tries to track it down. Ball does bounce out of play. Now under 20 seconds to go. North Georgia has to work quickly. Lara tries to get it in, trying to find a streaking Jensen on the play. Shango tries to track it down, and this one is going to be cleared past midfield. Pacers will try to make one more final push. Ball does roll out of play, and that is gonna do it here at the UNG soccer field. A back and forth defensive battle between two Peach Belt Conference foes ends knotted at 0-0 on the scoreboard. Both squads had their chances, but ultimately neither was able to break through. For the first time in 20 years, North Georgia and USC Aiken end their match in a tie. Ryan, this is a game that you know both teams just so eager to come away with the win in this one. A hard-fought contest. Both of their teams had their opportunities at the end to try to make something happen, but an exciting game even though it ends in a 0-0 tie.
Well, like I touched on, I feel like this one almost has to feel frustrating for UNG. They had so many looks in the first half and the second half, really. In the first half, they were really aggressive on their side of the field. The shots weren't really materializing, but in that second half, they had a few that I know they think should have been in the back of the net.
Pacers now move to 3-4-3. North Georgia now 6-4-2. Pacers shut out for the third consecutive game. North Georgia shut out for the second time this season, picking up their second tie of the year. Just a hard-fought contest. These teams are battle-tested for what's to come towards the end of the regular season. A couple of tough matchups on the horizon for these two squads. But we've got plenty of UNG soccer action in store for you this weekend on the Nighthawk Sports Network. A doubleheader on Saturday for the men's and women's soccer programs as Coach Ralton and the women's soccer team take on Flagler at 1 p.m. And the men's team back in action taking on Georgia Southwestern at 4 p.m. on senior night. On behalf of my partner Ryan Hutchison and the rest of the NSN and UNG athletics team, this is Robert DiClemente signing off from Dahlonega. Again, your final score 0-0 between North Georgia and USC Aiken. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you Saturday at 1 right back here on the Nighthawk Sports Network.